Are you all right?
I saw its thoughts. I saw what they're planning to do. They're like locusts. They're moving from planet to planet. Their whole civilization. After they've consumed every natural resource, they move on, and we're next. Cheat codes them. Let's cheat codes the bastards. It's July 7th, everybody, 2016. Welcome to episode 103 of the Cheat Codes Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We're always glad to have you with us. The next hour is us drinking a few beers and going over our favorite bits from the past week in video game, tech, and pop culture news. My name is Joe Erskine. I am your host, and we're coming to you from the desert around Area 51, and we're dragging a dreadlocked alien in a parachute over the ground and bitching about how bad it stinks. Today I'm here with Cheat Codes producer and editor, Mr. Joe General Gray Arroyo.
I just want to say welcome to Earth.
Cheat Codes community manager, Mr. Chris Dr. Oaken Morris.
Which one was Dr. Oaken? Was he the
it's
guy
Data,
that
it's
was
Data. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so cool with that then.
And we're eager to welcome partner Twitch streamer. You know him as EdE Monster, Mr. Edward Russell Case Quinones II.
How's it going?
What's up, buddy? No, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Today on the show, we'll kick the tires and light the fires to sort out the following bits. Analysis shows money donated to video game Kickstarters is on the decline. Is the bubble bursting, you guys? Why do we spend a ton of time playing games that we don't like? And Orion developers get angry and sad when they mess with Activision. And for today's lightning round, we'll try to pay our way through medical school by stripping to explain the following topics. YouTuber meets the Pope and gives him a copy of Undertale, of all things. And Australian cops don't want you poking around police stations looking for Pokemon. Period.
But there's a gym.
Yeah. Edward, thank you for being here, man. We hope you aren't cutting into your busy streaming schedule, but we appreciate it regardless. Tell us what you've been playing lately, or what you're playing right now, or maybe give us a look into the average day of what it's like being a streamer, you know?
What a great question. I've actually hit a stint as to what regularly I'm broadcasting because this wonderful company known as Boss Key refuses to leave their servers on 24/7 so I can play Lawbreakers all the time. But as of late, I'm getting ready for Rise of Iron on Destiny, and I play a buttload of Rainbow Six Siege. But nice. Evolve, which is a game that released February of last year, that it was infamously known for crashing and burning, unfortunately, community-wise. I wouldn't say sales-wise, but anyway, it just revamped its entire game and went completely free to play.
Yeah, I saw that article yesterday, man. It's kind of cool that they're taking kind of a step back to go forward. It's kind of cool.
Exactly. So, and I mean, the entire game is overhauled. Their main game mode, Hunt, it's just revamped and changed up, and the way that it works and all the mechanics, everything. It's so refreshing and so good to have the game back, but it's better on every level, and that's probably my main focus right now.
You kind of make me want to play it.
Yeah,
man. I gotta tell you,
go back and play
that was a hell of an endorsement.
Yeah, that is kind of my thing. I kind of am the hype man, but
right on, man.
If I didn't really like it, I wouldn't say these things.
Right on. At least you're honest. That's good. Very quickly, let's talk about what we're washing the episode down with. While some heroes enjoy cigars atop broken vessels of their slain foes, we prefer to indulge in a few adult beverages while talking about video games and stuff. Today we're enjoying a few of the sister IPAs, Imperial IPAs, from the folks at Fremont Brewing right here in Seattle. Believe me when I say this beer can invade and conquer me anytime it wants.
Oh my.
Gross, man.
It's good. It's good beer.
Supposed to drink it.
Yeah. Well, it's inside me. It's fine. All right, so to move forward, we should just get on with the madness, shall we?
Number one.
As we've talked about on this show and at great length, Kickstarter has undergone an interesting evolution as a platform for video game makers to fund their projects. In the past few years, it was easily considered the go-to site for crowdfunding games. We saw a lot of big successes, a few mystifying failures, and we've all learned a lot along the way. Good job, everybody. However, one analyst believes we're about to see a drastic decline in the amount of games and money spent on them through the Kickstarter medium. There's a bunch of facts and figures here. But before we get into that, is this kind of like an obvious outcome? Have we seen, when I said at the beginning, we're watching the bubble burst to a certain degree, people have kind of started to figure out what works and what doesn't on Kickstarter. Is this a direct result of that? Open question. Feel free to chime in.
Well, it's how many times do we have to beat this topic over the head? I feel like it keeps popping back up with good reason.
Sure.
But it's typical. I mean, you have the general public become a bunch of publishers, basically, and what could possibly go wrong?
Right.
That's the gist.
I don't know. How about everything?
That's also the correct answer. Ed, you were talking before we started recording that there was something that you were actually kind of looking at and possibly backing. Elaborate, if you would.
Yes, it's actually it just found it on Imgur. It was like it shows a bunch of GIFs, and I think that Imgur is fantastic for this. It really they get these nice posts up about these Kickstarters that like make a lot of sense. Like there was something of Illyria. And it's like a MMO where
are you talking about Chronicles of Illyria?
Oh my goodness!
Yes.
Wow!
Full circle.
Wait, we have to back up just like 2 seconds first and let you know that one of the regular panelists on this show works for the company making that game, and
is that right?
he used to work directly with our company and then left to go work on his dream project, which is this game, Chronicles of Illyria.
Wow.
Small world.
Well, that was actually one of the first games that I've ever seen that I saw on Imgur, in terms of like, showing what it brings to the table. And I mean, like the Imgur posts are like perfectly made, like, showing GIFs and, relaying the information properly through what the Kickstarter is trying to entail as well. And then it obviously links you to the Kickstarter. And that Chronicles of Illyria, like, I'm not a big MMO guy. I've had a lot of gamer ADD growing up, so like MMOs were really hard for me to stick in. And I also didn't have a PC, so like WoW was the big one. But that was the first one, and I was like, man, I really think I might back this. But it's because it's an MMO that I've been so reluctant.
Right.
And like, there's so much controversy going right now because of the Kickstarter, especially with the release of a lovely game known as Mighty Number 9. That was, but this game that caught my eyes, the only reason it catches my eyes because it really reminds me of a game that's kind of like life-changing to me. It took me forever to get to it, but when I did, it's like one of my top games of all time, and it's called Prey of the Gods, and it takes heavily from Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to be like this open world, like you choose your own adventure, where you go and take down these giant bosses, how you take them down, what weapons you use and all that stuff. And there's even like weather changing mechanics, day-night cycles, and it's just like completely I'm assuming like random like loot areas, etc., caves and
super
stuff.
dynamic. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and it feeds into everything that I want from like a game, like a survival game like that, including like you have to survive in this world while while exploring this boss world of Shadow Colossus, or like this dream of Shadow Colossus in 2016. And I just I can't not see myself backing a game like that, because Shadow of the Colossus honestly is probably one of the best games I've ever played in my entire life.
Endorsement number 2. There you go.
There's like 6 lines in the game, and I cried at the end. I'm not kidding.
No worries, man. It's all right to cry. Good games will make you do
that you mentioned this one, because I'd actually had this on my radar a little while ago, and I don't even really remember at this point where I heard about it, but I'm like, oh damn, like I want this game. And then Cliff like tweets it out last night, and I'm like looking at the GIFs on Twitter, I'm like, holy shit, it's that fucking Shadow of the Colossus game, it's on Kickstarter, oh my god. And like immediately had to rush to the page and check it out. And it's just like, I hope that it will be everything that we want it to be, because otherwise I'm going to be really sad that it's going to like feed into this whole like Kickstarter bubble bursting like yet again. Because
that's why I'm reluctant.
I know, dude. I know.
Especially with everything that happened with Mighty Number 9, like that was like the nail in the coffin. I think where people are starting to feel like either devs are taking their money and like taking people's money and running, and then just throwing in some pile of poop and trying to buff it like it's a diamond. But you know what I mean? Like
polish that turd, man. Polish it.
Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? Like it's very hard to understand what you're putting your money into. But if it's something that really gets me, like Mighty Number 9, I did not back it. Don't get me wrong, I love Mega Man. I thought it was an awesome game, and I thought it was a cool concept. But it's not something that fed into my heart, like as a gamer. Okay. But something like Prey of the Gods. I mean, I'm telling you, man, like
it's the sweet spot.
Experience of Shadow of the Colossus, definitely. It's something that I probably need to back for sure.
Arroyo, what were you gonna say, man?
Oh, I was gonna say I'm just waiting to back a game that's like a Mega Man reboot or something. That'd be great.
Oh my god.
Low blow, man.
Just stop.
right, so wait, actually, really quickly, like with the four of us here, quick around the horn, like how many games have you guys backed on any crowdfunding site, let alone
just a quick number?
Yeah, a quick number.
One.
Arroyo says one. Morris, go ahead.
Hold on.
No, just
bring up his spreadsheet.
Don't bring up the actual number. It's clearly too many. You're part of the problem, obviously. 93 games.
93?
Shit.
God damn, dude.
Oh my god.
You're
I know.
You're very generous. Let's say that.
I haven't backed anything on
9.3, right? Like there was one you were like reluctant, pulled back out. You know.
This is like I think this includes board and video games. I haven't packed anything on Kickstarter for like a while. If it makes you feel better, it makes me feel better.
It's not that your number's big. It's just that you're making me feel a little inexperienced.
It's how I use it.
I feel really experienced. My number is 0.
Oh my
there you
God.
go.
What are you doing with
So
your
is
life?
mine, dude. So is mine. Nice.
I actually, I was going to back Friday the 13th, and I completely forgot about it. And now they have like that extra Kickstarter fund or whatever.
Yeah, they're trying to get that single player mode in, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't care less about. Like, I love asymmetrical. Hey, if you guys haven't checked out Dead by Daylight, like asymmetrical multiplayer, just it blows my mind, and I love when it works. And so like that's why Evolve
Exactly.
is, like,
I was just gonna
super
say,
amazing for me right now. And then Dead by Daylight came out, and I'm just like living in this dream world where I have all these games that I love and want.
All right.
So,
All right. So for context here a little bit, let's run down a couple of the numbers real fast, just to give some of the listeners and the viewers, for that matter, because we are streaming right now, as far as I understand it.
yeah.
So backers have pledged $8.2 million in the first 6 months of 2016, where in 2015, backers pledged over $20 million in both the first and second half of the year. So a total of $40 million spent on backing video games on Kickstarter last year. And in 6 months, we haven't even hit a quarter of that. So ICO, go ahead.
I mean, we're throwing out. We're talking like games like Shenmue were thrown into Kickstarter. Like that alone is probably a huge reason as to why we haven't seen anything close to like a fan base.
100%, absolutely. And those guys, games like Shenmue 3 and like Bloodstained are probably definitely like outliers in this regard. But even when you take them away from the equation, what's interesting about it is that the trending on like from a like statistical analysis standpoint is that some of the more independent and like lower tier games are actually getting more of the money, and these big kind of like huge titles that are relying on crowdfunding to kind of like just supplement the capital that they already have aren't getting as much as they normally would have, say a year or 2 years ago. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's just kind of interesting how the trending is changing as far as investments are concerned. It's not investments, we've talked about that too, but how the donations are going.
Donations, yeah. I kind of see the silver lining in this a little bit. This is kind of a recurring theme you've probably heard on the show if you listen to a lot of episodes, and it's that people don't often get the opportunity to see what it's like to make the sausage in this regard. And a lot of the time that means that when a game comes out, they're really quick to be like, this game fucking sucks or this game's great, because they don't understand what it takes to go into it or what the process is like. And Kickstarter was an opportunity for the general populace to actually see the process from beginning to end, and also realize that it never goes the way anyone wants, backers or otherwise, right? And for once, maybe some of the population and some gamers are starting to understand that, which hopefully that'll turn into maybe less in the backing financial kind of aspect, but more so in the appreciation for a good product.
Sure.
Like when a good one comes out, I think a lot of gamers are going to like it even more because they understand what went into it.
Well, as a parallel to that, I think when you give the power to the people to actually kind of like donate to these games, it also increases like how critical they might be when they finally get a finished product, because they're literally, again, quote unquote, invested in the project very literally, but not necessarily in the traditional way that investment works.
Because they're not getting any fucking money back.
They put exactly. They put money into it, but that probably amplifies the way they feel about the game in the long run. So if the game sucks, it sucks even worse because you feel that much worse about it. When it's great, you're like, best $20 I ever spent, bro. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So
I think that's part of the issue, though, is like, I don't know if it was this article in specifically or if it was another one that I read where people were complaining about Fig's model now is to disperse payments like a traditional publisher would based on milestones. And with the Kickstarter stuff, you kind of are trusting that the team has enough experience and like a sufficient like producer and all that that's gonna keep the game on track, and that the money is gonna be spent wisely. Because I mean, come on, if someone dropped like a fat sack of cash on your lap like one day, you're likely to maybe be somewhat irresponsible with it. Maybe irresponsible is not the right word, but you know.
No, that's the right word.
Okay, all right. Well, then that's the one we'll go with. But you know, you're likely to not use it all properly, right? Because you have all these. It seems like you have like now like limitless resources. In reality, when you're running out of pavement, that's when you start to panic.
Yeah. So you're saying that whole breakdown of like incremental paychecks to so you can
it's the carrot
that would make better sense.
Yeah, you gotta deliver a proper milestone in order to get that carrot, right?
Yeah.
But if the carrot just gets, well, not even just the carrot, like a whole fucking like sack of carrots gets dropped in your lap on day one, you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna gorge myself on carrots and this game's never gonna get finished.
Well, because essentially in the terms of like game development, I mean, I'm not a game developer, so this is gonna be, you know, I'm going into this quite ignorant or inexperienced, I guess I should say, but this is the thought that I have in my mind as far as I know about the gaming industry. In terms of like when a development studio is under a publisher, they have certain expectations that need to be met, you know, and deadlines that normally are like almost impossible, but you know, they have to try and make them anyway. And with Kickstarters, I don't know if there's no like expectation or no like time limit. They can go on their own.
I think that has more to do with less the publisher versus non-publisher thing and more about like AAA versus indie. So like if you're an indie studio doing things on your own schedule, then you can kind of do them.
You can spend 5 years to make an isometric shooter.
Right. If you raise enough money in Kickstarter to fund your 5 years of development, great. If not, well, you know, get on the goddamn horse and start riding. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, but if you do have a publisher, yes, like you mentioned, there are expectations and there are deadlines because there's money coming from a corporate entity that is invested in the literal sense this time to make sure that they're putting out a product that they can sell and make money on. You know what I mean? It's very much that corporate model. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
I think another thing that also stems, you know, actually this is something that kind of just popped into my head like right when we were getting to the tail end, so kind of. You know, I'm not trying to draw it out too much. But something that I think that it really brings like the skeptics in terms of anything in terms of like Kickstarter. It's not only just Kickstarters, but think about how many early access and like alphas and betas people have bought into. You know that have been happening over the course of the past years. A huge example is a game that I fell in love with, and like the developer vanished off of the face of the earth for I think like 2 years. Was Cube World. Like Cube World was supposed to be this whole, you know, new like entry into like any fan of Minecraft would look at this and be like, okay, this is Minecraft, but if it like Zelda were shoved into Minecraft.
Did they show this at like E3 a couple years ago? This feels real familiar.
I don't remember if this was like at an E3. I honestly don't remember how I even found out about it. I remember it was like 2012 or 2013. I was like, somebody linked me, hey, did you see Cube World? Because I was known as I was a Minecraft streamer when I first started on Twitch. That was like the first thing I ever streamed.
Oh, cool.
And they were like, have you seen Cube World? And it literally looked like, you know, it was a blocky, you know, like cube-like game, but it was in a sense of where you go on adventures and you have like these characters with abilities and there's classes and there's quests and there's spells and dungeons and
a little
it's
more
all
structure to it, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and there's like, you know, it's all randomized and like endless. And he disappeared. And just about like 6 months ago from like 2012, 2013, when we first got the first alpha, he just came out and started teasing like this whole huge update that was coming out. And like, that's all fine and dandy, but all these people that dropped, you know, $20 for your alpha.
You have to stay vocal with them.
Yeah, there was no, like everybody was so heartbroken. And another example, I mean, even though it's still a very popular game, is DayZ.
Sure.
Like DayZ's in alpha or like, you know, beta or whatever the heck it's been.
Early access. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's really like I'm always reluctant when it comes to anything that's like early access. And I'm always reluctant when it comes to these Kickstarters because you don't know where your money is actually going.
So, okay. So 2 things before we move on to the next topic then, Ed. Real quick. I guess that's kind of, like the cool thing about early access as opposed to kind of like beta or alpha is that you actually get to kind of, there's a certain amount of transparency between developer and customer, and you get to kind of see how things are moving along. There's a certain amount of communication involved and all of that. and so but I definitely understand like kind of the drawbacks because you're never sure, you're not getting a full game, so why the fucking why bother? You know what I mean? But at the same time, if you're gonna back, I want to know before we move on, yes or no answer. Are you gonna back this Shadow of the Colossus game that you're talking about?
Pray to God, yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
there it is. So you'll go from 0 to 1 that instantly. There you go.
0 to 1 because honestly, like it's something that it really like it pulled at my heartstrings. Seeing that announcement trailer, I was like, oh my God, this is like a whole new, Shadow of the Cloud. Anything that's relatable to it. I haven't felt anything like that.
I feel like we should throw a party. It's his first time.
I know, right?
It's kind of like a big milestone in your life.
I'm popping your Twitch cherry, and you guys are basically around the popping of my.
There's a whole lot of cherries getting popped right now, man.
What happens when 4 guys get together?
Oh boy.
Okay, number 2.
PCGames.com posted a nice long piece recently about why Steam reviews can be so negative when the person leaving it has clearly spent an exorbitant amount of time in the game. Matt Purslow, the author, concedes that there isn't really an answer, but some clues are shedding some light on our gaming identities, and despite the fact that we're all rude gimme shit posters, there is an ember of optimism. I'm not the type of guy. I play plenty of games on Steam. I'm not the kind of guy that leaves reviews, but this is kind of where like the root of this article came from. And there's a bunch of people posting negative reviews or the giant red thumbs down on games but then when you look at the person and how much time they played, it's excessive of tens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of hours. They're like, this game sucks. I played 4,000 hours. I'm like. Yeah, what? You know what I mean? I don't understand. And this is why this kind of article spoke to us this week, and it's a relevant question to ask. Why do people play games they hate? Or do they actually come around to end up hating it because they didn't hate it at first?
Correct.
Okay.
I'll go with
you guys
number 2.
pulled me in on some amazing topics. Like I came on the right episode because this is. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Continue.
Well,
I'll let you guys get to it.
There's a number of theories that go along with this. So there are people like chalking it up to repetitive gameplay, like the crime, kill, chase loop of GTA or Assassin's Creed. It also speaks to design work when making said engaging game loops. The game itself may not be that great. Maybe there's something about it you don't like, but whatever that immediate kind of like, feed the beast action is, you just kind of like, I'm just doing this and I'm milling around and I don't care. And it's something for me to kill time with. And they even polled a psychologist who said that, ultimately it doesn't necessarily matter. Eventually they're going to have some sort of epiphany moment where they're like, I've spent 80 hours on Skyrim. What am I doing with my life? You know what I mean? That kind of moment. So I maybe these apply.
It's a breaking point.
Sure.
Like, it sounds a lot like really depressing dopamine. Like you're just like, oh, I have the adrenaline rush and that's great, but it doesn't mean I'm enjoying it. It just means it keeps me awake and keeps me playing.
I can't mainline Just Cause 3 into my heart, so it's not even worth it anymore. But I'm curious, if you guys have ever come across this, and it sounds like our friend EdE Monster has. But at the same time, I want to know, like, does any of this even make sense? Like, how do you put 4,000 hours into a game and still rate it
poorly?
Poorly, yeah. How does that work? Open question.
Who wants it?
I'm gonna let Chris start off. That smile, he got it.
He does have a weird devious smile.
So this is funny because I actually talk to Demond about this all the time, and we'll sometimes like get drunk and then read grab reviews on Steam.
No.
So there was this one, I had to actually find it, and I'm gonna read it to you guys. It's 1,540.7 hours on record.
Christ, who has that kind of time?
Wait, I want to.
Absolute, and it's censored with hearts, which is kind of funny. Absolute, I think, shit team making this game. They could not care less about anyone. They have abandoned the game without a doubt. I have over 1,500 hours in this game and had very high hopes. Obviously, the developers will not deliver. For example, about 6 months ago, they released an update that broke some guns. Still have those useless guns in my inventory and no fix in sight. They are the worst game developers I have, in all caps, ever seen. It's like, well, like, thanks for your money and your 1,500 hours, I guess, dude.
Oh,
like,
also,
sorry, you're so salty.
His fish is how big? How much bigger than his actual hours?
Seriously.
His fish?
Yeah, the fish.
The fish that he caught.
Exaggeration.
Is it this big or is it?
Well, you said he was 1,000 hours, right? And then
1,500.
He's
yeah.
no, his actual
1,500,
hours.
1540.
Oh, okay. Well, shit.
Yeah. I don't know where the fish came from.
Off by 40 hours. It's an
so
expression.
I caught a
Chris
fish
Oh, okay.
this big. Yeah. All right.
I'm dumb today.
You're this dumb.
Death many.
Yeah. Does not reflect our.
That's
It's
so
just
that's
like-
so sad. That's really really
it's
sad.
really unfortunate, but there's just like a huge number of them, and I can, for the life of me, don't know what it is, but I know that I'm excited to one day be able to read the same reviews about my game Lawbreakers, like 7,000 hours, shit developer, jump off your balcony, like
die in a fire, kill yourself. Yeah.
The designers especially are the worst.
Like,
They
oh my
are-
God,
well,
I'm so
traditionally.
glad you took the time to not only put in 7,000 hours, but write me a love letter about my game.
Well, so my question becomes: if you play, whether it's $1,500 or 1,500 hours of Grav or 7,000 hours of Lawbreakers one day, at what point does the love of the game change to hate? Because like clearly you started playing that game being like, oh, I'm gonna fucking love this shit, like let's make it happen, and you stuck with it. Where's the turnover? Where does the switch happen?
I have a theory, but I really want to hear what EdE
Eddie has to
Monster
say. All right,
has to
Eddie,
say,
do
so-
it, man. Do it.
It's like there's so many like things that are going through my mind right now as to what could make somebody go down a road like this, playing hundreds of hours of a game that eventually they have like this breaking point. They're like, oh, I hate it. It's the worst experience ever. And it just makes no sense. Like your Steam profile is saying that you loved this game for this many's. Like, why did you love it? You know what I'm saying? And it blows my mind. And I feel like, you can attribute it to a player's skill. Like they think that because, all right, they go into a game like Lawbreakers, which has a very high skill cap, and, they're going to play hundreds of hours, but for some reason it just doesn't click and they just suck and they're just that noob forever. And then they write this long review telling Chris that he should go take a long walk off a short bridge because he's not better at the game, even though he's played it for this many hours. I think that that's something that could attribute to like these angered, reviews, but also like their expectations. And there's a word that is always dropped in my chat, and every time it's dropped, I say the same thing. I'm like, I can't stand this word because it makes no sense to me.
Is it moist?
Especially in this day and age. It's not moist. I'm okay with moist. That's all. It's
Good answer.
It's overhyped. I can't stand the word overhyped. I can't stand when somebody says like this game was overhyped. I don't like that because it's 2016, ladies and gentlemen. You have reviewers, you have videos, you have YouTubers, you have Twitch, streamers that are literally on 24/7 to show this content to you, so you can make a great judgment call on where to use your dollars and pennies in terms of gaming.
Yep.
And it blows my mind that people are like, oh, I bought the $200, Division Collector's Edition and I played it for 7 hours because it's repetitive and I hate it. And I'm like, why did you watch the broadcast for 3 hours? That'd be half your playtime, and you could spend that money elsewhere. I don't. It's things like this that I can't relate to some of these things like this, and that's one thing that's why I love this topic, is because instead of me always taking like a negative approach or like being on the side of like these guys that always want to hit the negative button, and I think that being negative and being critical in a negative sense, it feeds more into the internet vibe because everybody's anonymous. So they can get away with bashing their keyboard and saying, go kill yourself. And it's ridiculous. Developers aren't going to listen to that. They're not going to listen to, I hate this developer, they're the worst ever. They want to hear actual good feedback about their game. Don't get me wrong.
Constructive criticism,
Exactly. And don't get me wrong, I feel for some of these, some of these gamers, because there are some games that were brought out that honestly didn't hit the mark, and
Mighty Number 9.
Pizza.
I felt like I wanted
explosions.
more, and it sorry, 1 second.
You're fine.
Okay, I just had to do some Quizmaster. Give me 1 second. I feel for them, I really do. But when you have 200 hours, even if you have 100 hours, that's a lot of game time. That's a lot of time you took away from your life to put into this game that you spent your money on. And I think that like at that point, even if you spend $60 on a game, that's
You got your
less
fucking
than
money's
$1
worth
an
at that
hour.
point.
Yep.
Yeah, right. You get that's less than $1 for each hour that you played.
You're encroaching upon the arcade principle, where if you could get a quarter into the game and play a half hour's worth of game, like you've far exceeded that at this point.
Exactly.
You're showing
And
your
at that
age
point-
there, Grandpa.
Yeah,
Joe.
sorry. So I used to play when I was young.
At that point, I just don't see it like, relating that well, because it's just, we're in this stigma where people, they're so like, I'm trying to think of the word here.
Wait, listen,
Entitled? Maybe?
Yeah.
Entitled. Yes, they're very entitled. Gamers are so entitled. And don't get me wrong, I've been there. I know what I want from a game, and if it doesn't come, I get salty, and I'm that kind of guy too. But I don't go out and like go on this rampage. Like I just take, if I put in a certain amount of hours, I take my loss, and I'm more cautious, especially if it's in the same genre of a type. Like, Call of Duty. I played Modern Warfare 2 for 16 hours a day for that entire year that game was out. And then Black Ops, I think it was Black Ops came out. Black Ops came out, and I was not a fan of it. I was not a fan of Black Ops, and I spent, I bought the collector's edition and was super hyped, and I think that one was the one with the RC car and everything, and I just couldn't get into it. And then I ended up getting into a game called DC Universe Online, which I talked about not being big into MMOs, but that was like the only one that I got into. And I paid money for that game, and I loved it, even though it was
came with my
not.
PC.
Nice.
Yeah, like
Just so you know.
I bought it on PS3. I was a console, kid for a long time. You guys say console pleb, but I was a console kid.
Nah, man, I'm still a console pleb too. Don't worry about it. Don't let these PC master race maniacs fool you, dude. Don't worry.
You know what it's? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
It's like you've got the most attractive, sweetest, whatever, like significant other ever, and then you hit that 1,500-hour mark, and you wake up, and then you're like, all right, well, I hate you.
Okay, wow. This isn't exactly the point I was going to make.
No more, like, the developer is not supporting you anymore. I found a new one. That's it. I'm out. And then you're just, like, sitting there, like, scratching your head, like, wait, what? What happened?
I'd like to give a slightly different spin on my take.
Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
But close, Chris. We have very different.
It was a worthy attempt.
All right, thank you.
The way I think of it is, it's more like you go through the honeymoon phase with a relationship, and in this case, it's a game, and they can do no wrong in the beginning. And maybe you've got goggles on, so you're missing some of the flaws, right? And then those flaws start to show themselves, and they become bigger, and it becomes repetitive, and you start to.
I've definitely been there.
Yeah. So at some point, right? This is long before the breaking point too. This is when you go, well, shit, I've already put this much time into this relationship. Like, how could I leave this relationship now? Like, I should drag this on another year or two, because I mean, like, I'm committed at this point, and that
I forgot what it's like to be alone.
Yeah, it's pretty much, it's got to feel that way, right? And then finally, when you finally muster up the strength, after you go out to drinking with some friends who give you good advice, and they're like, fuck that game sucks, you don't need that game, then you finally come back and you decide to break up with the game.
Well,
right?
your friends like take you out to a bar, and then are like,
yeah, they do the good. They're like, fuck that game. That game fucking sucks, because they're trying to be good friends. They're trying to be good friends, and so you finally decide, all right, I'm going to break up with this game. No matter how much you actually like the game as a person, I'm getting way off topic now.
You're fine. Keep going. I want to hear the end of this story. Keep going.
There's still issues that are coming out on the podcast.
Right. Yeah. No, you have to convince yourself that it's the right move, and the best way to do that is to make them hate you. So you're like, hey, developers, fuck you fucking suck, and then and then you're like, cool, now they won't call me.
Are you sure you never lived on the East Coast? Because this sounds like every It's way less passive aggressive and more just like full on aggressive.
Right. Like, so this guy who wrote this review after 1,500 hours in Grav, he was just breaking up well so that Grav was like, I don't want you back.
He was being very clear that he was like, I'm not coming back to this shit. At least until they patch it, and then I'll think about it. It's like makeup sex. You know what I mean? It's fine. All right. Jesus Christ.
In 6 months, he'll be poking around in Grav again, just kind of like,
just be like, what's it like? Did they fix my guns?
What's your life like now? Are you dating anyone?
Can we have kind of these nostalgic moments while playing some other open world sandbox games? Like, oh, but it doesn't have like sci-fi laser blasters
or dance moves.
Yeah, I feel like you guys are teetering around the game that I thought about as soon as we started getting into like this this whole like relationship type thing with, where you keep coming back and you have so much time invested. Destiny is the game that I'm talking that is like number one fitting this conversation right now.
Because, and on Bungie Day, nonetheless.
It is Bungie Day today. Happy 25 years, Bungie Day. Or Bungie.
Yeah, right. Well, that was the thing. Like year one, I played so much. I have over 1,400 hours in Destiny, and
don't leave a negative Steam review. You can't, but that's fine.
You can't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like year one, like after Taken King came out, I was like, how did I not realize that I wanted what came in Taken King at release of Destiny? You know what I mean? And,
well, that's what everybody realized. I think you're not alone in that realization.
Destiny went out. She got a little nip and tuck, got a nice dress, found some sweet makeup, and all of a sudden you're like, damn.
I was going to say
girl.
she worked out, but some shortcuts.
She tightened shit up. It was fine. It's funny you mentioned that too, because one of our good friends and also a frequent panelist on the show was one of the producers on that game, and we constantly ask him about kind of how that's working out, and we encourage everybody to go back to those episodes and listen to the Samir Patel episodes. So there is some
now I need to.
There you go. And he'll be back on soon, so keep that in mind. But I don't blame you. I think that's the right call, because especially when you make references to the Division as well as Destiny, like they are games of a genre that I think is still kind of trying to be defined, and Destiny was kind of like the first one to kind of break that mold and be like, oh, we're not an MMO, we're a first-person shooter that has a bunch of networking involved, and that's cool, right? And multiplayer stuff, yay, but they spent the first year trying to figure that thing out. And I think I saw a Polygon headline recently where, like, they were saying Destiny was like, this is kind of like a question, and Taken King was more of like, hey, here's a refinement, and the way
statement,
and then Rise of Iron, and not to sit here and promote for anybody, but ultimately, like, they're saying that this is what's coming now. Rise of Iron as an expansion is supposed to be kind of like the true realization of what they were attempting from the get-go.
So we're going.
Well, it's also, that's huge into the fact that they're leaving PS3 and Xbox 360 behind, which is one of my biggest gripes about Destiny. Is I feel like that game would have been taken so much further if the past gen, where it wasn't so forced into this game.
I think the timing on that is just weird, man, because like we have current gen consoles, but then we also have like the Scorpio and the Neo coming down the way, and it's everything's getting real complicated, and I think people are just being a bit more reactionary than forward thinking. You know what I mean?
No, completely agree, for sure.
So we're a bit over, but I'm really curious. EdE, did you have a breakup moment with Destiny, and then you like came kind of crawling back?
I broke up with Destiny. I broke up with Destiny around December of 2015 when the beta, November of 2015 when the beta for Rainbow Six Siege came out. And then it released December 1st, and I played that game for like 5 months straight. Like, Rainbow Six Siege was my new relationship. So, and then the April update came out, and I went back, and it was like, it's nice to see you, sweetheart. You're looking good, but
I've moved on. I'm a bigger person now. Yeah.
That's just I see Rise of Iron reeling me back in. Like, damn, girl, I missed you.
You got some work done, girl. Yeah.
Is it too late now to say sorry? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like scenario.
Fantastic. Oh my shit.
but it's one of those moments where it's nice for me to take some time away and
find yourself
when I come back to it. Exactly, find myself, go soul searching. But it's also nice to just branch out and play other games.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because
hey, if you love something, let it go. If it comes back to you, it's yours forever.
Exactly.
It stays away. It was never meant to be.
If you spew and she bolts, it was never meant to be.
Exactly.
Right.
You guys might want to side off as like a relationship podcast.
Right. I was going to say, this is getting really therapeutic right now.
We're going to do a spin-off. We're going to do a spin-off podcast about relationship advice.
Right.
Yeah, video games.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. That was
actually,
so good.
For the record, that'll never happen. Anyway, but...
Number 3.
Number 3.
Next topic.
In what has quickly snowballed into a fairly convoluted story, the Orion project was taken off of Steam recently because Activision had some complaints about where some of the assets Orion was using were coming from. That was a really bad sentence. David Prassel, a member of the developing team, said that they were a victim of a DMCA claim. What ensues is super weird. turns out when you turn something like this over to the internet, they're gonna dig some shit up. So
Context?
yeah, it's in the notes. Scroll down and I'll fill you in. So David Prassel issued statements that he'll be seeking damages from Activision defending his artists. Next, it turns out that Trek Industries has been hit with, they are the developers of the Orion project, have been hit with infringement claims before. Then, the artist has been told to change it because they can't afford a legal battle with someone of Activision's size. Then, Prassel sent out another statement claiming that upwards of 90% of their potential revenues from the ongoing Steam summer sale have been lost as a result of this little kerfluffle. Then, Prassel launched an Indiegogo campaign with a flex goal of $500. The first donor, Trek Industries, his own company.
What?
This means that any money donated after that would go directly to them as a form of profit. Then he banned himself from his own Steam forum, went on a tirade on Reddit, and then claimed his shit was hacked. The point is, DMCs can be rough for smaller developers, whatever. Then, in an even more recent post, Prassel says they fired the artist responsible despite many of the game's assets looking like homages to other games and movies. What the fuck is happening with these people? Activision is clearly right to shut these fuckers down. No? Like, I mean, that's where we come here. Like,
This project has been, like, just this crazy shit show from the moment it, like, first went on Steam. I think the name has even changed once or twice, right? Am I thinking?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. This is just seems like yet another thing to like add to the pile of crazy nonsense in making this weird ass fucking dinosaur shooter.
I felt like I was in like Dude, Where's My Car for a minute during
Seriously.
that intro. Where you're like, and then
Yeah, right?
I just feel like the only way to give it context, was to do it that way because this thing got so
out of control.
Convoluted so quickly.
I don't even understand it. There's like a large part of it that just
someone stole assets.
No,
Activision was right to act. What's weird about it is not only did they continue to try and deny it, but then continually try to like coerce their fan base to give them money, and then Valve is off in the corner being like, "Yeah, Activision notified us, we took it down, and we're not going to tell anybody about anything, and just kind of stand over here and deal with our gambling lawsuits."
Yeah,
and that's fine.
Say,
you know
and
what I mean?
also not deal with that either.
Right. At least not vocally. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Not hating, but there's a lot of weird pieces kind of like in play here, and I'm not even sure how to start a conversation about it. But the first thing is, if you are a developer, don't steal assets. There's good rules.
Are you sure?
I'm 100% sure that you should not steal
them
assets
directly, or did they just like kind of clone them?
I think it's more of a cloning thing. It's like a guy, the artist at work, what he would do is he would put on Demolition Man, and then he would just pause a random frame and be like, I'm going to make that gun, and then make that gun, and then watch a different movie on Wednesday and make that thing.
The difference is that all these movies are Call of Duty games, and so that's why Activision's pissed. So they literally, I mean, like there are, honestly, what I found for one of the rare times, the comments section of this article by Nathan Grayson over at Steam for Kotaku
was actually
more informative because people had like full infographics of like weapon breakdowns, like certain elements of like a scope or a grip that were like broken down, taken from like 4 different Call of Duty weapons, and then reassembled into a game from the Orion, or a weapon from the Orion project. It was pretty glaring, but also I get like mildly diabolical. And
there's even a Boba Fett helmet that
dude, are you seeing this right now? Yeah, and it's not even a good Boba Fett helmet. I know it's.
Well, maybe they thought if they made a bad Boba Fett helmet, no one would come after them.
And Prasser made the point of being like, well, our game is about homages to all these universes, and it's kind of like, dude, you're just straight up like Jack. Like the Boba Fett is not a theft; it's just a poor representation. The Call of Duty stuff is far more like they're almost indistinguishable, and I think that's actually quoting the article.
Realm of parody, dude. That might be how he gets out of this.
Yeah, it's
so bad.
Well, this is since we've gone over in the other topics. This is a quick way we can actually get into some discussion before we move on to the lightning round, which is when do you guys believe, maybe around the horn here, when do you believe an homage is stealing? Where's the line to you? Especially with a game.
Okay. Oh, well, I was going to say a podcast. When I do a quote of a movie at the beginning of a podcast to set up a theme, like that's an homage, and that it's also a way for me to create a theme for the episode, even though it may go in completely different directions.
So to
that's an homage.
To reiterate what you're saying, as I understand it, if you bring it into a different medium, it's an homage. Because we're not making a movie, so no one's concerned about us ripping off a movie.
Yeah, it's a very delicate question now that you start to analyze it that way. I intended it as an homage, but as soon as these 102 movies, or 103 at this point, movies want to come back at me and tell me that I've stolen from them, I will tell them that I did it out of love.
Yeah, and then the lawsuits, they throw it out because you love them.
Which is what Prasser will probably do tomorrow when he issues his next statement in regards to this lawsuit.
Right. Chris, is there a line in game development for you, where you actually think there is somewhat of an homage that can occur without creating problems?
I try to avoid this stuff as much as possible. Unless the game that you're working on, the game is actually lighthearted and fun and comedic and designed around parody being a core pillar of the game.
I think that's
then
right.
You can kind of go down that route. When I did stuff in World of Warcraft, right, I made lots of homage and parody style stuff in the game, and that was fine because it kind of fit. But if I was to, I don't know, make something that's an homage in Lawbreakers, I'd have to be extremely careful and really I would be better off just sort of avoiding it completely because it gets into some really, really murky territory, especially I think with sci-fi, where it's kind of, if it's more serious, hard sci-fi, it becomes more difficult to actually, I think, get away with that sort of stuff. I don't know. It's this weird gray area, right? IP stuff is really complicated.
Right. Well, okay, so from EdE, I'm curious, from your standpoint, do you ever play a game and immediately see an homage and just automatically look at it and go, oh, this is clearly a nod to this movie or this other game?
Well, I mean, in terms of we were actually, it was funny because we were just I think of the word Easter eggs when it comes to something like this.
Okay.
There's an Easter egg, but normally it's something that's taken from a project that this company has already worked on, in terms of how Bungie has the Master Chief helmet actually cleverly placed as it looks like his helmet, but it's a building. And it's just, it's super cool to see stuff like that. But in terms of a different company, taking something, these are really fine lines. I mean, we're talking if you make a video or you stream anything and you don't have the proper
say so or permission.
Yeah, exactly. Permission to do so. You could be in, a nice amount of trouble. If I were to play Lawbreakers and there was an NDA on it and I signed this NDA, you know what I mean?
What's that
these are
like?
all things.
I tweeted about it after playing Alpha 2, and I shouldn't have. I was summarily called by
I
Chris
immediately
to shut it
text
down.
messaged him and said, delete your tweet.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I was fortunate that nobody had.
He thought he was making a little honest, just nod,
I really
that
enjoyed
was
it, guys.
fun.
Thanks.
No one,
Dude,
no one can know.
I went to, I mean, this is all completely off topic, but I went to Boss Key, and I didn't, I was the first one of the streamers and content creators that flew out to Boss Key. I didn't even think I could take pictures. I thought I was going to get jumped by Secret Service.
You just closed your eyes, right? And you let them usher you into the room.
Right? They were like, all right, I'm glad you signed your NDA. Literally what that means is everything you see here, you didn't see or you die. And I was like, okay, I got it.
Your firstborn
fine.
child belongs to us.
So,
yeah, that kind of thing.
But in terms of in terms of stuff like this, I mean, I'm just looking at this the Boba Fett image, and it blows my mind that they would even have any type the audacity to take a step like that. It's legitimately a rip. I mean, you can't look at this and not think Boba Fett. I'm sorry.
We're gonna link. We linked all the articles in when we post the episodes. Everybody can go and get a look for themselves. But I mean, obviously, you're hearing how Ed's reacting. It's that bad. You know what I mean? It's that bad. So.
Look at their light swords. What are those? Those are cool.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Again, this is one of those situations where I found the comments of the article more informative than I actually did the article, even though it was a nice summary of what kind of the events. But again, people went both ways, where it's oh, fuck you, Activision, stop trying to bring a small developer down, and the other ones were just this dude's a straight up fucking con artist. Yeah. You know what I mean? So. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not the biggest fan of Activision. They've obviously done some, not so nice stuff themselves. But
totally.
In this terms, I can completely agree. Seeing this article, and I mean, as we went back to the beginning, and Dan, like, where's the cutoff point on, like, this is ridiculous. Like, this should have been ended a while ago.
Dude, where's my game, dude?
Dude, where's my
game?
Right?
All right. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Listen, when you got a decent audience listening, maybe you'll influence a few people to understand how this shit works. We appreciate it. When we're gonna take a quick break before we get into the lightning round. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This week we're offering up 3 Lawbreakers Alpha Keys, courtesy of the fine folks over at Boss Key. Of course, we can thank our very own Chris Morris, as well as previous guest Cliff Blazinski for hooking us up. We are stoked to share them with you, so head on over to cheatcodespodcast.com, hit the giveaways page, and check out all the ways you can enter to win. If you haven't seen anything on this game, you're probably not looking in the right places. It's everywhere in game news right now, and we've even managed to play it a bit. We think you'll enjoy it yourself, so go forth and enjoy free games.
All right, panel, time for the lightning round. Here's how it works. We're going to take 2 quick topics, and each member of the panel is going to be given a minute to chime in, uninterrupted for the most part. At the end of each minute, we will award the panelist a quantity of some type of points based on nothing in particular, and it should be noted, Ed, that when, as the host, you will be in charge of awarding me random points after my minutes, all right? Just so you know and understand your full involvement.
So you can start preparing,
Yeah.
So literally, I just say, okay, you get bonus points for.
No, you could say I'm
going to give you 2 hot dogs and a chihuahua because yo quiero hot dogs, bro. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Like,
don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, but we don't recommend that you do anything he just said.
Yeah,
sure.
I'm just saying it can be that weird and random if you want it to be. That's all I'm saying.
Yo quiero hot dogs.
Yo quiero hot dogs. Anyway, all right.
Sounded highly sexual for a second there.
Oh, my.
Oh, my.
We're breaking cherries, guys. Remember, we're breaking cherries, all right?
That's right.
Does everybody need a minute?
I'm ready when you are, man.
Okay, good.
I'm good to go. So.
All right. We mentioned on the show a few weeks ago how a few lucky YouTubers were invited to meet with the Pope and talk about inclusion, diversity, and spreading a gospel of positivity on the web. As is customary, if you're invited to the Vatican to meet with His Holiness, you bring a gift. One YouTuber gave the Pope a copy of Undertale. How generous! So, do you think the Pope played it? If you were going to meet the Pope, what game would you give him and why? Or sub the Pope out for any other world leader and tell me which game they deserve. Mr. Arroyo.
Oh,
Give us a quick minute on our first lightning round topic. Yeah, on the Pope getting Undertale. Go ahead.
I don't know. I think he actually did play it. I think this Pope is dope. Oh, that was bad.
He's a dope Pope.
So I would play it if I were the Pope, but I don't know what it's like to be the Pope. So nope.
Oh my god.
God damn it.
I would give him risk. Because, I just assume with Catholicism there's a lot of domination going on and things like that. So
oh my goodness.
He'd probably be interested in what it's like to conquer civilization or something to that effect. I think he'd have a great time with it. I think it'd be very informative, and maybe he could have a look into the past of what it was like for other popes before they were cool and they could take selfies.
Wow.
So I'm going to see the rest of my time because this is getting disastrous.
Probably for the best.
So... Yeah,
I appreciate.
Don't drop the soap, Pope.
I appreciate your restraint. You good?
Yeah.
You all set?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah. How are you gonna cope?
I'm gonna give you a ball gag and a bunch of leather dominatrix equipment because you were just talking about restraint. So there you go.
Wow. That
okay.
Was
That's not the way you saw that going, was it?
No,
not at all. Not even
Pope
remotely
related at all.
Nope. Mr. Morris.
Hello.
I'd like a minute about Undertale being given to the Pope as a gift.
Well, that's really hard to follow. So I'm going to steal someone else's joke, and I'm going to ask the question that everyone is wondering. Is the Pope going to play Undertale purely as a pacifist, or is he actually going to engage in combat?
Good question.
I think Joe, this one on my screen.
What does that mean?
I realized as I was pointing, I was like, well, only I understand which is left and right.
So which one?
From my perspective. So Arroyo would have us believe that it's all about domination. So maybe the Pope will play full combat, but I doubt it. And if I had to give the Pope a game, I would give him Diablo 3 because, I mean, I would expect him to play as a paladin and just like put down evil the
Fucking
whole time.
wreck shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That's it. I don't have anything else to say.
I'm going to award you the design lead position at Blizzard because it's vacant right now for the next Diablo game.
Oh, shit.
You're welcome. You're
Thank
welcome. You interned there for
I
a
didn't
hot
know
minute,
you could
right?
do that, but
What? It's random points, guys. We give away awards here. All right, Eddie, you think you got the feel of this? You think you're ready to go and give me 60 seconds?
I think I can. I mean, I'm probably not gonna live up to the hype of these guys because they've got a little bit under their belt, but I'll give it a try.
we're terrible at
Can
it.
I want to just put this out there real quick. The guests always have better minutes than the
Oh,
panelists.
but now no pressure though. All right. 1 minute
I don't
starting
believe
now.
that at all.
You got 60 seconds. Go ahead.
All right, so I think that the Pope, if he played Undertale and understood the mechanics properly, I'm getting a little bit deeper into this than I probably should, but I think he would go to a true pacifist run. This dude is awesome, man. I like everything that I've read on this Pope. I'm always like intrigued as to how different he's done everything in terms of the other popes, and I could get into a huge religious debate about this, but anyway, I think he would go pacifist because he's super cool and he wouldn't want to go killing everybody. But I think that my turn on the topic, I see at the bottom it says Obama was gifted The Witcher 2 and he wasn't into that. That's right. And I think that maybe Obama would be more into like NBA 2K16. I always see that dude with a basketball in his hand.
NBA Jam.
Yeah, maybe Jam. There you go.
Makes it even better.
Championship edition.
That's all Obama right there. Like straight up Obama.
Yep.
Anyway, thanks Obama.
Hashtag thanks Obama.
That's what I was gonna award him.
I'm gonna award you a iOS copy of NBA Jam because that's how I still play it, and it's glorious.
Oh my God.
It's glorious.
I would additionally like to award a thanks Obama, but done in the spirit of NBA Jam.
right.
Thanks Obama.
Boom shakalabama.
That was offensive. Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
Sorry,
All right.
you're right.
Absolutely face palming. Like this isn't even recorded for video, and he just face palmed.
It's good.
I have it. We'll get a Twitch clip.
Welcome to the Cheat
my
Codes
God.
podcast.
I think,
all right.
If it's not too many characters, I think Boom Shock Obama might be the best name
Shock
for the
Obama.
episode.
Shouldn't it be like Obamashakalaka or something?
That's good too.
is.
They're all good.
How many characters do I have to work with for the Twitter post, Chris? Yeah, you know what I mean?
Part of the problem. 93 Kickstarters. What are you doing with your life?
That's good.
All right.
Okay, Eddie, prepare for awarding this man points for his minute.
Here I go.
Okay.
Here I go.
Rock and roll, Erskine.
It's a difficult thing to gift the Pope anything. To what do you get to the girl who has everything? You know what I mean? It's already dressed in white. Does he wear a hat? The answer is yes. Shitting in the woods. Who knows? What? I think if I was given the opportunity to give the Pope a gift, it would probably be video games. So I certainly don't blame Matt Pat or Pat Matt, whatever his name is, the YouTuber, for giving him Undertale because it's clearly kind of like flavor of the year or month or whatever, and it's an easy thing to kind of get into, but a much more difficult process to kind of master and figure out as far as the game is concerned. I think I have to kind of agree with Chris. Diablo makes a good amount of sense, but I think I'd even go deeper cut and go Dante's Inferno.
Oh shit!
And then have him actually like do that whole journey, and then kind of turn around and just laugh it off because it's clearly wrong. But
There aren't that many circles.
there's only 9, not 13. Anyway, but that's how I'd end it. So there you go.
All right.
Dante's Inferno. That'd be my gift to the Pope.
Oh man.
What does
Sorry.
he get?
Assassin's Creed popped into my head. That'd be a good one.
Okay.
Are you actually going to give him a copy? That'd be great.
Well, you do. You actually end up like killing like some cardinals and like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, oh my God, come on, irony, man.
I feel like you're like you're like an Italian gangster sending the Pope a message like by giving him Assassin's Creed.
Not this Pope. Essentially, what should have happened,
Maybe John Paul II, but not. Right. I got
exactly.
You. I got
exactly.
You.
So I want to award you a Boba Fett helmet, but not like a traditional Boba Fett helmet, like a stolen one from a video from a developer that's clearly ripping off of anything that it finds good.
That was good.
Hang on.
That's what he deserves, I think.
There's a follow-up point to this show.
What?
So I have a Boba Fett keychain actually.
Oh.
And I'm not even fucking kidding.
It was perfect.
Boba Fett Lego keychain right there. All right, just saying.
Absolutely perfect.
And they had the
I
rights.
did well. I'm actually gonna give myself a pat on the back for that one.
Extra points.
We're all giving you pats on our own backs for you. How about that?
That was weird. That felt weird.
All right, topic number 2 for the lightning round. Pokemon Go is here, everybody. People are ARing and tossing balls all over the place and hitting up Pokestops at various locations around their respective hoods. In Australia, however, police have issued statements to the public discouraging them from approaching, entering, and or otherwise bothering police stations in their efforts to catch them all. Apparently, a few intrepid trainers have taken their gaming pretty seriously and are frequenting locations like this in ways that are fairly disruptive to integral parts of society. Or at least some savvy cops are predicting that that'll be the case. So for the final minute of the show, I want to know best or worst locations to disrupt in the search for your legendary Pokemon, your best situations gone horribly wrong while playing Pokemon Go, and or whether or not this is indicative of a larger problem with AR games in general. Mr. Morris, you're going to go first.
Oh my God, I have so much to say about this. All right, so
you have 60 seconds, go.
I think this is a perfect opportunity for the Pope to be like, yo, look, everyone come to church. We got Pokemon here, which I guess people have already been doing. And I think second, either the best or worst place to find Pokemon, among other things, would probably be like a strip club. I don't know what you might find there. Maybe like Ghastly or something. And today I was walking down the street, head down, throwing balls at sidewalks, walls, other people. I actually threw some balls at my boss right at his back earlier today as well. And
I'm pretty sure you've done that before.
We ran into some other people like, oh my God, are they going? Are they going? And they walked up to us and they're like, are we going where? And they're like, are you playing Pokemon Go? So I ran into some other intrepid Pokemon masters during my stroll in downtown Raleigh at lunchtime. So all in all, like this game is like the best fucking thing next to sliced bread to ever grace smartphones, and I love it.
Wow, good use of a minute.
Thanks.
I'm gonna give you a ratty T-shirt as your reward to clean up your boss's back after throwing balls at him. How's that? All right.
You could. Oh my God.
Superman.
That's the worst point ever.
You're welcome, Chris. It's okay. It's all right. Don't be sad.
All right.
Mr. Arroyo.
Oh, hi.
Yeah,
even I played Pokemon Go. I like to kind of prance around when I'm playing the game because I think it adds more. I actually think it draws out the Pokemon. So I tend to skip or occasionally I do like a roll,
like a somersault.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like just in the middle of a public place because I want to further the
immersion.
Well, because the thing is, sometimes you pull out your phone and you see a Pokemon and you want to catch them, and then you're literally holding your phone up at a stranger's face, and they're like, "Why are you taking a picture of me, you fucking creep?" And you're like, "I'm not," but I am because there's a Pokemon on your shoulder, and I want my social media to know. So, sorry. But also, I'm going to roll now. So you just think I'm so fucking weird that you just pass it off as that guy's so goddamn creepy. And in reality, I'm just playing an ARG. And I want that, and I enjoy it.
Okay. I'm going to award you the hashtag Why No Social Pokemon Go so that you can spearhead the initiative to have Pokemon selfies in AR published on the regular basis.
That's what I was saying. Like, think about doing like that AR at like a strip club. You'd either be like super popular or super unpopular, depending on whether the people working were also into Pokemon.
I think that you're soon going to see the strip club thing become like when you walk into a strip club, it's like, you know, no hands on the ladies kind of thing,
No
or
Pokemon
dudes,
Go allowed.
and no Pokemon Go allowed.
Right.
You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
It's
So-
like in certain Asian countries where they have the no durian fruit is allowed in this
Right, right, 'cause
hotel
it smells
because
horrible.
it smells like shit,
Yeah,
and we don't
yeah,
want
yeah.
it here.
yeah, I think that's
All right.
accurate. All right,
Joe Erskine.
I'm gonna take the next minute, and then we will gift the final minute of the show to our guest EdE Monster, and we'll go from there. So
Rock and roll.
here we go. AR has a very big problem, and what's cool about Pokemon Go is that it's actually kind of like at least addressing it, and then we'll see how they try and solve it. And this Australian article is kind of actually kind of cool that they're like getting ahead of the fact and be like, don't come to a police station to swipe a Pokeball at us because you're not going to catch shit. We're going to just arrest you for trespassing and or just ship you home because you're playing a dumb fucking iOS game and or Android game. And that's fine. But you know what? At least they have the presence of mind to actually put out a warning. And so I appreciate that because we have seen
Watch your surroundings.
zero. What we've been complaining about on the American side is that, like, when are the servers going to go up? When can I start playing? Not like, hey, maybe don't run around in dark alleys looking for Pokemon in urban centers because bad things happen when you do shit like that. It takes a certain amount of common sense. You know what I mean? And I appreciate common sense. So thank you, Australia.
I caught Stabby.
In my face. Ed, you're welcome to reward me however much or less you think I deserve.
I don't remember like the names of like the knockoff Pokemon wannabe like mobile apps that have come around that are like always littering Twitter with like and Instagram and Facebook with like these ads of, hey, play this game and catch these monsters and this, that. Like I want to reward you one of those, but I don't know what they're called.
Just give him a Digimon. And we can
There you go.
Basically, I'll give you a Digimon, but
All
not
right.
from like the really good seasons, like just the really bad ones.
Fair enough. I'll take whatever I can get. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think Boba Fett was better, but that's okay.
So do I. For the record, so do I. All right, you got the last minute, sir. You're on the clock. Ready, go.
All right, sounds good. I think it's absolutely hilarious how many people I've seen on Twitter say, oh my God, Pokemon Go is awesome. And then I realized I had to walk down the street to catch one. I give up forever. It's way too much. It's way too out there. Like, this is a public thing, you know? And then you have the people that are just getting lost in there. Like, I've had a few people that I follow on Twitter, like, I went out into my neighborhood and caught all these Pokemon and I got lost. I don't know how to get back home. So, I mean, I think it's awesome. Another thing, relating to the actual topic itself is I actually didn't know that Australians had police stations. I thought they were just like surrounded by a bunch of kangaroos.
With guns and billy clubs? Yeah.
Basically just, hanging out, in the wild, messing with wallabies and whatnot. Anyway, I love Australia. They're awesome. I have wonderful Australian viewers and they're amazing. So they'll, hopefully get the joke. Hopefully everybody else gets the, me messing around. Anyway, but I think it's awesome. I love it. I go around, I've been going around the neighborhood. I think it's ridiculous that some of the Pokestops are like 2 miles away. So I'm just like, you know what? Maybe I'll just drive there. It doesn't say how I have to go there. It just says I have to go there.
There you go. Now that's the meta game. That's the Pokemon meta game.
Exactly, right? That's exactly the meta game. You're just figuring it out. And, so
I'm gonna award you a full DVD set of Steve Irwin's just animal exploits. Because honestly, as Americans, what other Australian influence do we have to draw upon to learn about our fellow Australian?
That's the best gift ever.
Okay.
I love Steve Irwin. Like, that dude is
may he rest in peace.
That dude would get like,
I'm gonna punch this snake. Let's see what happens. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
This dude would get attacked by wild animals. Be like, oh, it's great, mice. We're having a good time. Like, he's so positive about everything. I love it. And
positivity is the key, man.
I love positivity.
No, and I know that you're about that shit. Like, so it's the best gift I can give you. All right?
It's very thoughtful.
It's making me mildly sad in the midst of all this positivity because he would have been great for some type of a narration role in like the Pokemon Go game, like
That's
for
true.
all the Pokemon you see out in the wild.
Yeah, or at least for the.
Don't wander off the bridge.
Stop staring at your phone so you don't get hit by a bus. You know what I mean? All right, we've pulled it off, everybody. Episode 103, Cheat Codes Podcast, is coming to a close. Eddie, thank you, man, for being here. We really appreciate it. Shout out to those streaming deets, that the people that aren't watching right now, and to the people that might listen to this podcast in the future. Let them know where they can come see you on Twitch.
I am on twitch.tv/EdE Monster, EDE Monster. And same thing is basically you can just Google EdE Monster and find everything about me. So stalk me.
And what are you playing lately, so people know?
It'll be this weekend will be Lawbreakers. We have a new
alpha test.
Yeah, and then we have Evolve Stage 2. Those are my big things right now.
That's awesome. All right.
New Lawbreakers level, Chris?
I think so. I don't know.
Probably no comment because like NDA and shit, right?
It was put on the Twitter. It was put on the Twitter from Lawbreakers that Pokemon is coming in the next alpha. So
Thanks for doing my job for me.
Yeah, I saw
Shout
the official
out to
Twitter.
Rohan Rivas for community managing on a proper level.
Dude, he's kick ass.
Yeah, real good. Much appreciation. Thank you for being here, dear listener, and thank you to all of Eddie's streamers that have been, part of this conversation and keeping tabs and commenting positively, I assume.
We're sorry that Chris Morris hasn't killed himself yet, despite all of the comments that have come in about it.
Oh boy. But we appreciate it, man. Eddie, thank you so much for letting us kind of merge the two medium and making something fresh happen. We, like I said, we popped some cherries all around, bro, man. We made it happen.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
Well, we'd love to have you again in the future, so come back anytime. And best of luck with everything in the future, man. Keep that stream rolling, keep the games going, and we love you, man. We'll be tuning in as well. And
Sounds
we'll be
good.
talking to you soon. Hit us up, cheatcodespodcast.com, Facebook, Twitter, and get in on the conversation. That's going to do it for us for now. And Eddie, maybe he's going to stay on. We'll see what happens. I'm curious to see how he keeps the stream going after we're gone.
Maybe just do a 24-hour session.
Yeah, that's it. Right? Yeah, I mean, you've been going since 6 a.m. Yeah, exactly. But and not to co-opt any of your donors or your supporters, but make sure to check out the Cheat Codes Patreon page. We just started this a couple weeks ago. The video is spectacular. You'll see all sorts of video game luminaries within. You can become a patron for as little as $2 a month. So if you're into the show, help us out. And if you got some money left over, make sure you're helping out EdE Monster, because I'm sure he's needing it. What? Not even remotely. Not even remotely. That's not accurate at all. I think it's actually the opposite. It's probably the opposite. Anyway.
Oh my god.
I've never hosted a podcast before. Forgive me.
Except 103 times.
Well, only 103 of them. Anyway. So if you're into the show, help us out. Hugs and kisses. Eddie, thank you again, man. We really appreciate it. This was really fun, and we'll talk to you soon. All right?
I love you, Eddie. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Take care, guys.
Later.
We'll see you for next week for 104.